Issue 231. We start out with Metal Sally grabbing Sonic. This is a turning point in the comic, setting the next phase of it radically apart from the rest of the comic, but not in a good way. Sonic is brought into an elevator, and Eggman lampshades that while the sensible thing to do for him would be to just have her walk them both into an incinerator, he's sadistic and wants to enjoy this for as long as possible. Eggman presses a button to open up the floor of the Death Egg, and Sonic is thrown out of it. Eggman pets Metal Sally, saying, "Good girl," already treating her like a beloved pet, and tells Snively to prepare for a full assault, damaged Death Egg or not. Then Snively reveals that the Chaos Emerald in it is gone, saying that the roboticizer blew and they're running low on power. This causes Eggman to order a retreat, and launch Projects Titan and Deadly Cuddles to delay them. Oh, he's calling her Mecha Sally, okay. Well, I guess that is consistent with roboticized Sonic being called Mecha Sonic, but I could have sworn I remembered it being called the Metal Sally arc. And Metal Sally sounds better, so that's what I'm gonna call it. Mecha Sally makes me think of a giant mech or something. Fortunately, while Sonic falls out of the Death Egg at high speed, landing on the hard metal wing of the Tornado 2 doesn't hurt him at all, despite it not being by any means a soft landing, and if anything, should have damaged the plane from him falling onto it with such momentum, but let's ignore that. After all, he suffered enough. Sonic tells Tails that he'll explain everything once he's gotten him back up there. And as Sonic lampshades how Ixis wasn't helping when that could have prevented Sally's situation, we see Ixis lying on the ground in a fetal position, talking about a flash of light and something being gone, being the bullshit explanation for why Ixis wasn't allowed to be helpful and useful in the Death Egg. But his Chaos Emerald staff is right there. How to get in this situation? How does this make any sense? This is such a stupid explanation. A giant robot appears in front of Big Vanilla and Cream called Titan Metal Sonic, who appears in a bunch of fire. I have a question, why the hell hasn't Nicole put up the force field protecting the city by now? Did Ixis literally remove her ability to do that when he destroyed just a few nanites of hers? This plot hole makes the conflict, or any conflict in the city for that matter, feel forced. Bunny and Ixis go after the robot to protect the city, sending fire at it, and after Ixis complains that it seems too tough for a teleportation-capable wizard who should have possessed Moggle earlier to beat, he throws a blast of purple light at the robot, and Bunny seems to get covered in green crystals. Eggman tells Snively to put the engines on reserve power and put everything else into the Egg Annihilator beam and fire in the Nanite City. He tells Metal Sally to threaten Snively into doing what he's told despite the Death Egg being heavily damaged already, and Eggman calls her a good girl and complains about needing to think of a better name for her once again. He never will. So this running joke is going to be pointless. Sonic jumps on the Tornado 2, avoiding a huge blast of yellow light, and then when Ixis tells a crystal golem to serve its new master, we see that it was the Titan Metal Sonic who threw that blast of yellow light. Okay, so that means that Ixis can take control of robots just like the Iron Queen can, albeit in a more roundabout, unique way. Why aren't the people worried about him taking control of Nicole like that then, since he just showed that he's not that different from the Iron Queen? Well, it's a good thing Jeffrey's there then, because he would tell him that taking control of Nicole would be a very bad PR move for him. I don't see why Ixis should care, though. He's a villain, he wants to take over the city. Cream runs away, saying that she saw Bunny fall over there and she might be hurt, and Vanilla tells Big to get an unconscious Bunny to the doctor. Cream then sees the Tails doll and says that whoever owns him would miss him, not questioning the antenna on it at all. That came out of nowhere. I guess it makes sense that you wouldn't suspect Eggman making a stuffed doll looking like Tails since he hates him, except he would make it to beat it up. Although I guess then it would be in Eggman's base and have the stuffing beat out of it and not be here. So I'm probably supposed to assume that the Freedom Fighters are so popular in-universe that not only do they have comics made about them, but they have stuffed animal merchandise of them too. Hence why Cream didn't question a Tails doll. We should have seen that kind of merchandise beforehand then. After Amy attacks something with her hammer, telling it to open, the Freedom Fighter Special lands and Sonic asks if anyone's hurt. Amy says that they're all okay because Antoine's piloting skills were amazing, and when she asks about the tornado, Sonic says they had to bail. Then Amy and Jeffrey complain about how Sonic wants to go after the Death Egg when he can barely stand. They're all given the bad news by Tails, who can't even stand to say the word roboticization, meaning that they all could have just assumed that Sally was merely kidnapped. Amy has tears in her eyes, and Antoine cringes at it. Jeffrey says that the city's been attacked, and they need to, focus on that, I guess. He was cut off by Antoine furiously telling him off for just trying to help, traitor or not. Amy hugs Sonic, and Tails, who's crying too, says that they'll get her back, but not now. And Amy says that they need Sonic here. Finally, Amy lampshades that Nicole hasn't fixed the damage to the city yet. Sonic, for some reason, figures out that the grass around them is real as they hear the people cheering for Ixis. Is it all of the grass in all of the city? Although it makes sense that they would cheer for him after he defended their city. They don't really know any better. For all they know, he's had a whole bunch of character development since earlier and become a better person. But the smirk should really give it away. With Bunny having the cyborg parts of her covered in crystal, how convenient that it was only the cyborg parts. Antoine asks, but what is it that? Trailing off. Thank you for spelling Keska right this time, comic. Big agrees to bring her to the hospital. After the crowd cheers for their new king for admittedly justified reasons, there's a flash of white light and Ixis looks scared standing in a field outside the city and falls over cowering at a flash of light just like before. After some people mock Ixis, which is pretty gutsy of them, Ixis's old allies from the Ixis Order are revealed to be the ones who mocked him, looking like Chaos Energy ghosts since they're all one color. It's explained that they came back from a combination of Chaos Energy used with science and the shifting in reality from the Death Egg madness reawakening them from his mind. Translation: convoluted bullshit, because he really wanted to write the concept of this being the case. Ixis complains that he had woken up from a deep slumber with his past forgotten and unneeded. Really? One of them comments on how all this time they've been watching through his eyes when he doesn't even remember them. This came out of nowhere, but it's interesting at least. I just don't see the need for these wizards coming back. And it annoys me that him forgetting his past is supposed to be like an excuse to not give him any sort of backstory on his childhood, making an explanation for why he's evil. One of the wizards recaps the events of Ixis' backstory, but not the part that I would actually want to hear about, and explains that because their competition grew too fierce and their powers were so overwhelming, their bodies, minds, and abilities were combined, and somehow Ixis came out on top and not the others, looking just like he did before, instead of looking like a weird mixture of all three of them. Because this is a concept that was awkwardly added onto a much older story at the last minute, without being actually compatible with what was written before. This is how you know that the comic has gone on for far too long. Ixis slams the Chaos Emerald staff on the ground, preventing the wizards from taking control of his body. I have a question. How is he going to keep them from doing so when he's asleep, or busy in the bathroom, or eating? Why don't they wait until then and do it then? And this is never going to happen again. Like, he's never going to be totally taken control of again. So that's a concept that will be totally put to waste. Then it's revealed that not only had Ixis teleported, but also went back in time to before the Titan Metal Sonic attacked. And he doesn't question the fact that he just fought this robot and wonder if he'll be teleported back again to relive the same experience in a stable time loop he can't get out of. Does he just not teleport away from the crowd this time? Why not? Did the wizards trapped in his mind out of nowhere force him to teleport to confront him? This issue is by Ian Flynn, and as Sonic come home giving his friends the bad news that Sally sacrificed herself, upon which she rewired Eggman's brain so that he can never make another death egg like this again, repeat the exact same plan again without Sally there to stop it, I assume. Except no, she didn't. So if this kind of thing happens again, who's gonna sacrifice themselves next? Bunny gets hurt in the crossfire as Ixis fights a Titan Metal Sonic and takes control of it with his crystal magic, getting Bunny's cyborg parts surrounded by crystal and the crowd cheering for him as their new leader. Makes sense, they don't personally spend enough time around him to know that he's still evil. You'd think him being power hungry and wanting their city would be a clue though. A good person wouldn't want that, they would just feel too humble to want power. Too much responsibility. Sonic is begged to stay because he's hurt and is needed in the city, and after he figures out there's real grass around, even though the fake grass looked just like the real grass, so I have to wonder how the people would know that. Although this is taller, but Nicole could have just been assumed to have made the fake grass taller. And then it's revealed that Flynn added an unnecessary concept to Ix's backstory in the bad second story, where the other wizards got fused with him and hidden in the back of his mind out of nowhere, were somehow given the ability to talk and try to take control of him with magic tech, even though Ixis was never touched by the Death Egg madness. And I'm left to assume that this time Ixis returns to the cheering crowd, that this time that Ixis returns to the cheering crowd, he won't end up teleported back in time and stuff, trapped in a stable time loop forever, while appearing to vanish forever from the crowd's perspective. So how can Ixis look just like he did earlier when he's apparently the result of all the other wizards fusing with him, not being killed off as they clearly meant to imply earlier? The answer is that this concept was just hastily added onto a much older story. I think I've heard about what's going on with Ixis already, so I have some idea of what might be going on. I'm teleporting when he doesn't want to, so I'm only putting up with this weirdness because it might lead to something interesting later.